Hey Boy Meets World fans, thanks for being here. Welcome back. If you could hit that like and subscribe button, that would be awesome. But either way, I'm glad you're here. We're talking about season 1, episode 11, The Father-Son Game. So let's get into it. I always like that opening scene with Morgan eating all the sugar cereal. I've been up since 6 o'clock. I really like the shirts are a lot. Now that I'm listening to the podcast, like I notice all the shirts that Corey and Sean wear. It really is too many shirts. And he's right. And I do like the moment where he's like, oh, I love Friday. I get to be home all weekend. And Amy's like, oh, I hate Friday because you're home all weekend. Oh, you love me. Oh, you wish. And Eric with his girl weather report. And of course, Amy is making sure that Eric understands he will be home by 10 o'clock because you don't mess with Mother Nature. Alan's, oh, these people have inner peace and tranquility. Let's kill him. I do think it's funny that like Eric and Corey, you know, especially Corey being so into sports is like, I don't want to play sports. See, I like that because it's like, oh, Miss Lawrence, you didn't say the Pledge of Allegiance. And then here comes Corey. Oh, why are you picking on me? She didn't do it. Haha. You're doing the debate this morning. You told her not to say the Pledge of Allegiance? And she's just like, I do agree. Like, how quick was that bell? Was that like at the end of their class? Oh my gosh. And then it's like, it's so funny because he's all like, it makes me a great American. That's what, that flag makes this country great. And then the bell rings. Okay, I'm out of here. God, Sean messing with that burger is always so gross. But I do like that he points out, I don't know if this is a personality disorder or what, but I'm just never happy unless I'm doing stuff like this. Really fleshing out his character here. The fact that he actually had to eat that burger is so gross. I like that Amy's like, no, I'm not getting y'all off the hook. This is your hook. And of course, Morgan wants to go with her mom to the bank, even though it's probably not going to be fun for her. Brotherly blackmail. Nothing quite like it. And of course, Alan says, oh, I got a call. The game's been canceled because dads just know. And of course, Topanga's family, her father's bookstore was the one they were playing, and she played the game. So she told Corey. And now he feels like crap. It's interesting how Amy seems to have a much more proactive role in this episode than we've seen previously. Oh my gosh. Leonard Spinelli. He's so funny. Like, I love that he's had these little snippets of guest roles. He played 3 different characters in this show. Grilling burgers and Lenny Spinelli's bleak future prediction. I think this is the last episode that we see the character Lenny Spinelli in, I think. Topanga doesn't want to say the pledge, nor does she want to wear shoes. Sean's like, we who sit behind you object. Corey's speech about I should respect the traditions of my father or organization or my country. And Mr. Feeney's like, or teacher? And then he's like, or teacher. They're like, hey, you didn't make us go, so we lost because you didn't play the game. Oh my God. Oh, I like it when he's like, oh, we'll play the game on one condition, lose the doll. And Alan's like, and Alan quickly regrets it. They win that game, but he's hurting. Oh, and they have a rematch again. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the podcast for the episode. And then I'm going to tack on my notes about the podcast with just Trina, even though Trina was on the episode for the podcast. So right off the bat, I have to say, like Danielle saying the TGIF thing was very real. People did have like traditions watching TGIF. I can't remember I necessarily had like specific foods that I'd eat. I know being Friday night, I mean, back in the day, Friday night was like TGIF, and then like you go to like Blockbuster too. So like there were specific things that we do, but like I didn't really have any specific foods or like a position on the couch, but like you did definitely have to be there on time because back in the day we didn't have like DVR. And there wasn't like where you could go look it up online and see what happened. Like you either watched it on TV or you didn't see it. Like I don't know, can kids today even fathom that idea? But it was wild if you missed something because it did kind of feel like the end of the world because you're like, you feel almost like you were the only one that didn't see it. And I'm going to just say the double shirts and hoodie things, I don't think I'll ever understand. The 90s fashion, I mean, I look back now and I just go, ugh, oh my God, why? Okay, so I definitely didn't know the sugar didn't hype you up. That's interesting. First time I'm hearing this. So, Sean, thanks for that information. T-Rex arms. Really, Will? I swear you were so hard on yourself and I don't get it because you're freaking awesome. And let's see. Yeah, I did think it was weird that Corey didn't want to play baseball because that was like his thing. And I mean, the Boy Meets World opening song is so classic 90s. So it's just so funny to me how they all kind of hate it. And then Trina's like version of it was really cute. The debate about the Pledge of Allegiance, I think, has been going on for many, many years, many decades. In fact, I know I did it in school, but I will also be honest, I knew why I did it. So it was very meaningful for me personally. So Sean was just like many kids in school that messed with the smart kid. It was like, I think every school, everywhere has that. And I think he was just playing that role. And in terms of messing with Minkus, like it was always pretty light. It was very like family friendly kind of messing with. And that's why I think it was such a good thing with Minkus because it didn't seem, it like kind of bounced off of him because he would always get one in on them as well. So it was a very kind of back and forth. It's like the burger, which by the way, I also agree with Danielle. I always thought he was going to eat it too because he's always eating. Even like the first time I watched it, I thought he was going to eat it. So then I'm like, oh, of course he's going to mess with it. But of course Minkus, outsmarted him because this is what he does. Yes, I think we've established that the house is definitely on a corner lot because it is kind of weird because you see the front door, the back door to the half whatever yard, and then there's those other doors to the side or whatever. So it is an interestingly designed set house. Yay for Will being acknowledged this episode. Ha ha. Okay, the not bad line. I know it's silly, but I always thought it was funny. I'm going to be honest, this was not ever really my favorite episode, but it is very sitcom-y type. So that might be why, because I do kind of always feel like it kind of veered away from the kind of Boy Meets World formula, if you will. And I'm just going to throw it out there. I don't think Corey needed a jacket like Will did because Corey was wearing all the shirts. But then again, I noticed in this episode, Will was wearing like 3 too. Like, what is with the multiple layers here? See that, so, I mean, I guess Will is very cold. Eric was very cold. The trivia was great. I did get the movie one before he even gave the choices. 1993, absolutely hands down is Jurassic Park. I really liked the trivia segment. So when he's doing the salad, yes, in the 90s we did kind of give kids knives because, survival of the fittest. And to answer the question, I actually use spinach for lettuce. And here's my proposal. They need t-shirts for team side yard, team backyard, and team, what is it? What is it? Doesn't make sense. That's right. And agreeing with the storyline didn't feel exactly cohesive with the the allegiance debate for the story, but to me it was kind of like an 11-year-old logic more than anything. So I kind of feel like it fell in line with that. No one agrees with everything their country does, but I still feel proud when I hear the Star Spangled Banner or the Pledge of Allegiance. It's like, it's all in where you sit with it. But I can agree, like I said, like the argument for the story was not cohesive, but I do kind of feel it was just 11-year-old logic. Okay, so the things I didn't see. I did not see Topanga Trip. Didn't notice that. I didn't notice Corey's backpack being backwards. I, again, did not notice Will mouthing the words. Like, I mean, he's so attention to detail. And just as an ending thought, anti-hippie sentiment was very real in the 90s. Like, that was a very real thing. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about my thoughts with the podcast, with just talking to Trina. First off, I just want to say, how in the world does she still look exactly the same? She looks beautiful. Bravo. What is your secret? I mean, seriously, she looks amazing. Side note to Will, fasting is a very real struggle. 4 days, I commend you, sir. It is not easy, although the fasting and gassing was a very good comment. Great way to start the show. Does anyone smell purple? And it is true. You definitely do see things when you fast for too long. Did anybody else think that Writer's Old School sounded very much like something from Little House on the Prairie? Not to date myself. And like, I do love that Will kind of compared it to a cult. And I'm just going to say it again. I love Will's voices. They are so great. They just bring you happiness. And poor Indy, Cali Kid in Alaska, I can only imagine how much he was not loving that. Okay, all of the people that Trina like knew and, like was in her circle, I mean, she hung out with P. Diddy. I mean, she like knew all these people before they were somebody. It's like no wonder she got caught up in the acting entertainment industry. Okay, so when she said she was upset about not getting on the Cosby Show, I mean, I have to agree. You wanted to be on that van, Trina. Retrospect, absolutely yes. As Will said, it is the safety van. The fact that Trina beat Lauryn Hill on a musical show is wild. That's amazing. And I love that receptionist, that sassy receptionist, played an agent to get Trina on Boy Meets World, and Michael gave her notes because she was destined to be Angela. I do think it's funny that they only found out her age because she showed up on set with her kid. And Will asking how many kids she has and just flat out asking her age. He really did have no filter. Careful, Trina. You said that you initially thought that the Boy Meets World kids on the show were snots. I'm sorry, but that sounds like a clickbait article. I can see one of those clickbait people putting that out there. That's so funny, though. I will agree, arrogance in youth is real. It is a real thing. And I'm just going to say, I have also heard that actors do get pitted against each other on shows to provide a better performance by the powers that be. I've heard this also on the One Tree Hill podcast as well. I really like that Trina said that, everybody needs to respect everybody's journey. I think that's a really good way to say it. And I think it's, really cool that like Will had such a life-changing moment for Trina kind of just letting him know what was up with his joke that really wasn't funny. But in that sense, it was like in regards to Angela and Sean's relationship, because Boy Meets World was always telling a specific story. I feel like that's why it was structured the way that it was. It wasn't anything like malicious or whatever, because the nature of the show, I know I personally didn't think anything different about their relationship. It was just like, honestly, you know what the most shocking thing for me with that relationship was the fact that Sean was being serious about someone. And I was just happy to see it, Although I have to agree with her that, if Sean had gone to her house for dinner or something, it would have been really cool. I like that idea. And, I can also relate to people telling her to turn down her volume because, like, I've gotten that my whole life, so I can relate to that part. And, I guess I'm one of the people that falls in the category, because I am in an interracial relationship, that I don't mind that it's not mentioned. I know she was putting all those out, that some people minded, some people didn't. I think I fall in that because it's just normal for me. It's not like a big deal. You know, it's like, it's just, you know, it's just normal. So hearing Angela talk about why she wasn't in the last episode, that's insane. And you know what? I am with you, Will. I am pissed too. I mean, that I think that goes back to the powers that be kind of just telling the actors what they needed to tell them. So I guess that explains our answer why the show moved Angela to Europe, which is just crazy. So the spinoff that they were talking about, I think would have been really cute, but I don't really think it would have worked because, I mean, I think everyone was so burnt out with the show at that point. We know Will was. I think Danielle was too, a little bit at that point. And, you know, I have those thoughts all the time that I should have said something after the fact, so I feel you on that, Trina. Overthinking sucks. And yes, as always, I'm going to keep saying it. Communication is key. It can solve so many problems. Okay, that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, feel free to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.